This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch. We've all heard that before. Maybe it was a grandparent, a parent. Maybe we're passing that on to our own kids and grandkids. And what does this mean for our finances? How do we keep from counting our chickens before they hatch in our nest egg? See what we did there? Pretty cute. Well, you're going to find out today. Scott McLean and Financial Insanity. Out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. So, Scott, what do you think of when you hear don't count your chickens before they hatch as it applies to retirement income?
So not as it applies to my farm.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously you heard noise from our farm, but the neatest thing is, we all depend on income coming in when you're in retirement or nearing retirement. I had a phone call today from a couple that just moved to Green Cove Springs, Florida, and this couple is trying to plan the retirement. So counting your chickens before they hatch we definitely want to have a nice income. But what if something happens? What if you get sick and disabled? What if you retire? What if you get fired? When we talk about Social Security, of course, are you thinking about, well, what if my spouse takes it first and I take mine later? Great option. But on the other side of the coin, when you're thinking about taking your Social Security, what if your spouse dies and you lose that option? So when you're planning for Social Security, Alex, the biggest challenge I find is they don't look at holistically I call it the three-legged stool: your Social Security, your current investments, and your retirement investments, or maybe your pension. And you must really delve into questions like that when you're planning your retirement, because you're trying to count your chickens before they hatch. But what if something happens? So you need to ask a lot of different variables. I think this is very, very important, Alex.
Absolutely. And Scott, when we're talking specifically about Social Security and now not counting your chickens before they hatch, the easy thing to think about is the cost of living adjustment. And this is made each year. And I hear you laughing. And it's
going up.
Yeah. Well, we got an estimate from the Senior Citizens League. And no, that's not, the softball league or anything. But there could be a 9.6% increase in Social Security payments next year. But we don't want to just assume that and make plans based on that. Right, Scott?
No, I would run the numbers just for giggles. I would really think about 7 to 9%. Now they're saying about 8.7 or perhaps 9. So again, counting the chickens for the hatch. Just be glad they have Social Security. Be glad that if you're taking it now, you're getting Social Security. But use that in your numbers if you want. Just use a quick thing. Maybe an extra average is about an extra $150 plus or minus the $10. It's about $150 is the average.
Well, and there's still a lot of data to be collected, and before that official COLA is announced, so that could all go down. And as far as counting on Social Security for income, I mean, how much should we be counting on that as we move forward?
Well, you need to really, if you're listening right now, grab yourself a pen, paper, or pencil. If you simply go to Social Security, you need to know your numbers. I could throw all sorts of numbers out there, but that'd be like a doctor giving you a prescription for a ailment you don't have. But I think the first part is to really go to socialsecurity.gov, and it's called My Account. You can actually log in if you haven't done it before and watch your numbers, watch your income. They could be wrong. My Social Security. Go Google that, download the information. You can get your report right away. And I think this is very important for those of you that are divorced. And maybe you should take your husband's or your wife's, or I should say your significant other, prior significant other, take their Social Security. So should you or shouldn't you take their Social Security and let yours be delayed? This is very important. This report, go to mysocialsecurity.gov. I think it's called socialsecurity.gov and then my account. Download that report. If you can't get your report, you need to call Social Security. You need that report before you start counting your chickens, as we spoke about, because you could be way off. Your report could be wrong. Very important.
If you have questions, Scott may have answers for you. You can reach Scott and his team, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Another area here where this lesson comes into play on how your retirement income is going to be taxed. Don't want to necessarily look at account balances and assume that's the amount we get to spend in retirement. Tell us, Scott, taxes, the impact that's going to have on retirement.
Alex, this is so important. If you're listening right now, why your advisor should be looking at your tax returns or asking you questions on an annual basis. Why? Because one year your Social Security may not be taxed at all because of the marginal tax bracket. And the Social Security could be totally tax-free, and then all of a sudden you hit a wonderful age, let's say 72, you've received tax-free Social Security, and now because you're taking your required minimum distributions from your investments, it's now taxed up to, drum roll please, that's right, 85%. 85% it can be taxed up to. This is why the tax returns is critical to look at when you're planning heading into retirement or while you're in retirement. And this is not an Einstein deal. It's very simple, especially if your advisor's been doing it for years. I'm sure your tax preparer has been doing taxes for years, but their job is not to guide you. Their job is to do the taxes. This is where your financial advisor, preferably a fiduciary that's looking for your best interest. If you're not, you're looking at the wrong neighborhood. And for those do-it-yourselfers, you need to pay attention to Social Security and how it's taxed. Now, to put the whole picture together, like you said, Alex, you've got your 401k, 403b, perhaps you have a 457. Maybe you have a defined contribution plan. How is that taxed? That's called ordinary income. So when you're pulling money out of those vehicles, perhaps you have other vehicles, let's say a non-qualified account, a joint account, maybe money you've been saving on the side. When you design your retirement for efficiency, tax efficiency, as well as less taxation, perhaps your spouse's lights are going dim. Which account should you use? Perhaps your spouse is now disabled and you're pulling money to pay for a in-home nursing. You see, Alex, how many choices there are. So I'm talking on the radio to you listeners right now. I'm speaking to you because you have choices to make, and everybody is not cookie cutter. I hate financial planning shows where they give you what to do, but everybody's not the same. You know, if you want some ideas or some thoughts or some concerns, please don't put this off, because when you make a choice for Social Security, when you turn on your pension plan and make choices for pension, when you start pulling money out of your accounts, which account do you pull it out from? This is why it's important. Write this down. This is, please do yourself a favor. Write this down. Ready? 609-488-4646. Write this down. 609-488-4646, because I'll be able to help guide you. You give me a call off the air at our radio station here, 609-488-4646, because you might have questions, and I guarantee you I will have answers. Why do I say guarantee? Because if I don't, I'll find them out for you. How's that? Or I'll lead you to someone who can, because this is something you're making a decision to retire. You look at all your investment accounts and how much do you pull out of your accounts so you can minimize taxes.
Well, and Scott, the whole topic today, talking about not counting chickens before they hatch, is all about not making assumptions, not assuming you're going to be okay or that you're going to be, not okay. And
You're right.
And this is where, Scott, bringing in a professional, whether it's a first or a second or a third opinion, but just that you don't want to make these assumptions. And you alluded to it, but there's just so many details and so many codes and so many rules, and tax rates change all the time, and how do you stay ahead of these things, and so you're not just being reactive. And these are all things that you can either think about or you can invest some time with someone to think about that for you.
Well, Alex, you said the word reactive, and I think that's a very powerful question because most of us are reactive. It's like I want to go get something in the store. You go to McDonald's, you buy food that's maybe not that healthy for you. You're reactively going to fill your hanger tank, or I think my daughter calls me sometimes when I don't eat. You want to make a quick answer, but that quick answer could cause more ailments, more challenges, more problems. So you want to be proactive, not reactive. And this is a big point, counting your chickens before they hatch. Well, things do change. So you could plan now, but maybe later on in life, another 2 or 3 months, all of a sudden, I'll give you a case in point that your child has taken sick. And I'm not being doom and gloomer here early in the morning, but your child has taken sick, and perhaps maybe now you have to take care of the grandkids. Maybe now your retirement has changed. Maybe now you are putting the grandkids, now you're raising the grandkids. I know I have several clients like this. They're about to retire, and all of a sudden now they become, like I should say parents, but now they're grandparents. But now the tax return changed because now they have some different exemptions. This is not a set it and forget it deal. This is not a deal where your advisor meets with you one time and over the phone or on Zoom or in person, and you're done. This is a plan that's fluid. Alex, we spoke in one of our shows about a financial plan. Anytime you put a financial plan is, to me, ridiculous if it's for your life, because it's not stagnant. It's for that point in time, and then that's set. But things change. So a financial plan, you pay a financial planner to put a plan together. And today the plan looks wonderful, but 6 months down the line, the plan has changed. You pay all that money, but life has changed. This is why I think it's crazy to put a financial plan and put a period at the end of that word financial plan, because it is a moving target. Life is a moving target, as we all know.
Scott, if someone's sitting there, they have questions about Social Security, or they have questions about taxes in retirement, or how to generate retirement income, or if they just simply think, you know what, I've had one person looking at my stuff, maybe I need a second person, a second set of eyes. What should folks out there do?
That makes sense to get a second set of eyes, whether it's with our firm here at McLean Advisory in Waretown, New Jersey, which we've been doing, a proud supporter of WBNJ for so many years because we're able to educate people. But get someone who can take a look at your stuff holistically, which is why I said in the beginning of the show, go to your Social Security, ssa.gov, download your Social Security report. Then, of course, when you meet with a second opinion or third opinion, or obviously you'll give us a call at our studio, 609-488-4646, to help guide you through these many decisions you're making that you think it's a simple decision, but simplicity, I call it the disease of ease. It seems simple, but it could not be simple. So this is important to give us a call if we can help you off the air at our station here for any kind of questions you might have. Would love to help you, as we've been doing now for 41 years, I guess now, Alex.
Scott welcomes you to try that number. Also, if you would rather go to the website, it is simply the phone number with .com at the end. So 609-488-4646.com.
How simple is that?
Pretty darn easy. And you are listening to Financial Insanity, out of the box thinking for your financial sanity. More with Scott coming up.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
Oh, that's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
You know how much income you'll need in retirement? There isn't one number that's right for everyone. Income needs in retirement are unique to each person or couple, and there are some questions, though, that can help you plan for retirement. We're going to go through those today. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman alongside advisor Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. And Scott, we got 6 questions to go through, so let's just jump into it, my friend. The first essential question to ask as you're looking to think, how much income am I going to need in retirement? The first question, well, what are you spending right now? We got to know what that answer is, right, Scott?
It's amazing. I just had a meeting with a lovely couple, and we're doing their planning. And the wife, she does the books, and the husband came in for the first time. I met her a couple times, and I said, look, for us to move forward, I've got to speak to your husband. I love meeting with spouses because I got to make sure we're on the same page. And I said, by the way, what are you spending right now? Same question you just asked. You know, what is your monthly outflow? What are you getting on your checkbook? What are you actually getting on income? What are you spending? And she looked at me because I caught her off guard. She goes, wow, you're catching me off guard. I said, yeah, but this number should be in the back of your mind somewhere because you guys are about to retire and you both have juicy pensions. My question when I see you guys or see people, Alex, is how much are you spending right now? And she goes, we started adding up line by line by line what she's spending. The challenge is when she's spending that much money, or when they spend that much money, what does your retirement look like is the question I ask. In other words, are we going on a trip? Are we traveling by plane, train, boat? Maybe you have an RV. We have to calculate those numbers. But the first number, what are we spending right now before we retire? And as we're in retirement, the question is, will that number stay the same? When will the mortgage be off? So Alex, this is a very critical number. And she said, Scott, I really don't know. I said, before we do anything, before we move any money around, before we move anything, your investments and your choices, I like to know this first to find out, do we have enough emergency fund? Do we have enough income? And if your lights go dim, you go in the nursing home, what's our backup plan? And this is important. What are we spending now? Good way to start that, Alex, because a lot of people don't know that number. You should have that number in your mind.
Yep.
And the goal is to beat it. Can I save money or do I need more money?
Yep. Much like, you go to the doctor to face reality when it comes to your health, it's much like needing to go to an advisor to really get a reality check when it comes to your finances. And so this is where you just got to be real, you got to be honest, and Scott can have this conversation as we're going over the essential questions to ask when determining how much income a person's going to need in retirement. And the second question here, Scott, is how will your spending change in retirement? For instance, do you dream of traveling, plan to move out of the state? There's a lot of different things you could spend money on, obviously.
It's a lot of things
I can think of a few.
Yeah, you might be eating out more money. And, of course, we have inflation that'll evaporate your wallet quickly. Maybe your dreams and goals of traveling. What kind of, like I just said, maybe you have an RV. Do we figure out the cost of gas? Could it be going up? Maybe you're thinking about moving or selling a house. These are critical questions. We just spoke to a person last week. They have two beautiful properties, one here in New Jersey and one in Pennsylvania, the beautiful Poconos. They have a nice capital gain of around $200,000 capital gain. And if they sold it, which they were thinking about, I said, well, did you plan on the taxes on the capital gain? And they said, well, no, we're going to pay taxes. I said, yeah, let's just figure this out. We kind of figured out. But if they put the money into a specialized REIT, real estate investment trust, and you have A, liquidity so you can pull out the principal, but B, pay no taxes, well, you should have seen their eyes light up. These are some strategies that are out there. Now, if you're going to start to travel and what does your retirement look like? How much you think you're going to spend? Again, it's a guesstimate. But in the early years of retirement, Alex, it's called the go-go years. maybe in the first 10 years, you're really going to be blowing and going. You're going to have some fun. And I can tell you, you're going to spend more money than you thought. But keeping your eye on that budget. No one likes the cuss word, the B cuss word budget. But if we're keeping our eye on the cuss word budget, we know what we're spending, which is the first question you asked. We know what we need to stay around. This could help you. Or maybe some of you are thinking, well, if my mom and dad pass away, I have extra money. Well, don't look at them as your sugar daddy, even though they might be. But again, this could be put in your plan. But again, you don't want to bank on it. And not everybody says that, but sometimes people say one thing, but in their heart, they're thinking another. Let's talk about spending. How much are we going to spend? What is our retirement? Can we really live the go-go years, Lord willing, healthy, enjoyable, or am I going to scrimp and save and stay at home and watch TV, watch Bob Barker? I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. This is Financial Insanity. It's out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. And the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Asking the essential questions today when determining if you're going to have enough income in retirement. That was a great point about, well, things are going to be getting more expensive in the future. You do have to account for that always. But a third question to ask here, Scott, family issues affecting your spending. A lot of different possibilities here, but a lot of things, good and bad, can happen with family when it comes to your money.
Let's talk about those lovely parents who have special needs kids. This could affect your spending. This could affect the quality of life. This could affect, are you bringing your son or your daughter on the trip with you? So we hope you can. This is a very touchy point, but it's a point people need to be aware of. What is that cost going to be? Because you want to enjoy your family as best as possible. Do we have someone take care of them as my wife and I or my husband and I go out? My partner and I go out and travel. Who can take care of my children in that area? Or let's not only talk about children, Alex, but about those of you that are actually taking care of your mom and dad.
Yep.
Or a dog or a cat. And that is part of your spending. These little things do add up. How will that affect your spending habits? And of course, can you bring them with you? Can't you bring them with you? Or is it possible or impossible?
Mm-hmm.
Spending. When you think about spending on top of that, Alex, in the first years, you got the go-go years. Do we have enough money to keep lasting? Will it last a long time? I'd like people remember the rule of four. The rule of four. We'll go over that in a minute, Alex, I think. But the rule of four is simply take a certain amount of money and do I need an extra, let's say, $1,000 a month? If you want an extra $1,000 a month with the rule of four, 1,000 times 12 obviously is $12,000. The rule of four is if I have money in a 4% account, well, that means you have $300,000 if you're just living on the interest. So we spoke about this earlier in this segment. Do I need to reallocate my portfolio for income, not growth, for income? So on the first of the month, I know there's going to be a check in the checkbook. I know the money is going to show up in the mailbox or in my checkbook, I should say, and I know it's going to be there. So the rule of four would be a basic thing, even though interest rates are very yummy right now. But I can tell you, if you listen to our last segment, if you those lucky enough to listen to our last segment, if you didn't, you can go online and listen to it, of other different areas to get money at a nice 4 or 5%. Nice savings account. So again, how are we spending money? Where are we spending on it? What's the left hook? Another area of family, Alex, I forgot to bring up was your children. Some of you out there may have a child that keeps asking for money.
What?
And
that never happens.
Hey, Dad, Mom, I'm a little bit lean on my mortgage. Can you help me? Well, I'm not going to tell you to help them or not help them, but this affects. Mm-hmm. Hey, Mom and Dad, my son needs, or your grandson that's a great ball player, he needs new shoes and a baseball bat. I was talking to my daughter. These stinking bats cost like $400, these fancy bats for these little rat kids. I'm like, holy crap. Yeah. I used a wooden bat. Now they got these fancy bats.
Oh, don't go back in my day on them, Scott. Come on. Don't go there.
So we kids can actually use their bat their beautiful little eyes and start to pull money out of your wallet? Are you subject? Are you enabling them or disabling them? Remember, this retirement is your retirement. This is the go-go years. The first 10 years of retirement usually is the go-go years.
Yep.
And then you go into the slow-go years. You're not pulling out as much. But again, do you have enough nerve to say to the kids, no, this is for mom and I, or my partner and I, my beautiful lady friend, my boyfriend, whatever. Is this enough? And I can't keep helping you out here. The cuss word is 2 letters. It's no. But I know a lot of people have a hard time. By the way, I have a hard time. I love helping my kids if I can help them.
Sure.
But if I know they're doing the wrong with the money, they're not getting a daggum penny. So again, know how to say no. You got a lot of people with big hearts out there that are willing to give up money.
Yep.
That's them. This is a tragedy.
And it's one of those things, too. We can ask all the questions, but one of the points is that there's going to be things that you cannot predict that happen in retirement. And so you have to have money set aside. As we talk about family, maybe your son or daughter goes through a divorce, and that leaves them in a different financial situation. And now you're kind of stepping in to maybe let a son or daughter live with you, or maybe you're helping them with rent or with needs for children, or, there's so many unpredictable things. So I think that's just a good point, Scott, is that we can ask all these questions, which we need to ask, and we're going to go over them today. But there's also just those things that you cannot predict. And so you have to try to protect yourself with that kind of stuff as well. And Scott, we just have a couple minutes left here of this segment, but I think just drive the point home that you also know what questions there are to ask of someone that maybe people don't even know when they're thinking about figuring out how much income they're going to need in retirement. You know what to ask.
Alex, when I look at the 3D approach, the dollars, how much they have, the dreams, desires, and the legacy, by looking at the tax return along with the estate planning, and then finding out where you want to go. What does your retirement look like to you? How do you want it? I really want a wonderful retirement. I want to really enjoy life. How does that set up? And these are questions that need to be asked, not once, Alex, but probably several times throughout 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe every year you review these questions and you change the game plan if you have to. Because if you don't change the game plan, you find out you're burning more cash. As I spoke to a woman just yesterday, she's helping the kids out to help up to start their own store. I said, you need to stop this or you're going to be out of money. And remember, he said, you don't want to be the cat woman eating cat food? This could be you. Call my office, 609-488-4646. Scott McLean, I will help you. I'll guide you. No cost, no obligation. 609-488-4646. I'd love to help you.
3 more questions to ask when figuring out if you'll have enough income in retirement. On the other side, this is Financial Insanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Retirement planning, investment planning is a two-way street. It's got to meet. I need to understand the good, bad, and ugly you've been through so we can avoid those issues. This, to me, is very important.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
We are asking some essential questions today to help you determine how much income you're going to need in retirement. Last segment, we asked, how much are you spending right now? How will your spending change in retirement? And how will family issues affect your spending? Scott, the fourth question today, will your taxes be higher or lower in retirement? I think I know the answer.
Well, it's not a set answer. I would think everybody think would be lower. You're correct, Alex. But let's assume you're a teacher and your spouse is medical, and you have a 401k and a 403b. You have a pension, and so you do a rollover. You roll over your money. Government allows you to move your money out of the company's plan, and because you'll do that wonderful rollover, we've protected that money, and you're not 73 for the requirement of distribution. Usually when you retire, it's lower, but if let's say your spouse is getting $5,000 a month in pension and you're getting $5,000 a month in pension, well, that's all ordinary income. It could be higher than what you thought because you thought it would go down. Then you turn on Social Security, maybe too early. Maybe you should take money from a non-qualified account, let's say a checking account, savings account, money market account, a CD. Maybe you should take it from other different accounts than an IRA account. Why? Because the higher the marginal tax bracket is, the more you're going to have to pay at tax time. So you thought, no, I wasn't going to that much money in tax. You find out, wow, went from 15% to 13. Not a very big saving. So again, this is why the advisor that you're working with needs to look at the tax returns on a yearly basis to see how has your circumstance changed. Now, in retrospect, if you're living on Social Security and you're pulling a little bit of money out of your accounts, your IRA accounts, frankly, you could have a tax-free tax return, and now you're paying zero in tax. And for those people that actually invested money into some unique insurance type of products that you can pull out money tax-free and still have the estate if you pass away, you may have a tax-free retirement. On top of planning session says maybe you've been putting away money into a Roth IRA. Now you're pulling money out of the Roth IRA. You're pulling out of the money out of the non-qualified money. You're pulling out of money from Social Security, and then you turn on your pension, or you don't. Again, looking at that tax return could be, hopefully you're living at a lower taxable income, but the marginal tax bracket, and as the advisor looks at the tax returns on an annual basis, which is why our firm started the tax practice in 2008, Alex. We actually do taxes for our financial clients. We charge them a lot of money. It's $125, Alex, for a full tax return, unless they have some other fancy stuff like the real estate and stuff. But basically, the tax return is $125 because I want to know, they don't have to do tax with us, what's going on. It gives us heads up, hey, something changed. But another thing that can change for those of you out there, what if someone dies and you inherit money? And now you have to pull out money from the inheritable money. And the new law says, 2020, you got to take it out within a 10-year period. It's called a stretch. You can stretch it over the 10 years. Take it all out now. Take a little bit out. Should you convert it to a Roth? And these are great questions. Again, someone dies. When we get these questions all the time, Alex, when people call us at our studios, and they say, well, Scott, I just lost my mom and she passed away. I received her an inheritance and a lot of it's IRA money. How do we handle it? Please come in. Give us a call at our studios, because taking too much out could really affect a no taxable retirement to a huge taxable retirement. And this is why you need to really analyze and kind of really view each person individually. This is not a cookie cutter deal, Alex. This is not so yes, in the beginning, should your tax be low retirement? Yes, we all think that, but don't think too deeply. You need to really dive into the depths of how you're pulling money out, where you're pulling money out, and then just for those of you out there, could you have phantom tax? Phantom tax is an unknown tax. So when the stock market drops and you have non-qualified money in the stock market, let's say you have mutual funds in Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, maybe you have Scudder, and they make a profit within the stock market portfolio that dropped, you could pay tax on long-term capital gains. You scratch your head, how could I pay tax when my account went down 30%? Well, that's called phantom tax. So this is why it's really important as you do your 3D approach to planning. You look at the dollars, the dreams, and then of course, your dynasty. How does it pass on so the kids don't get whacked as much in taxes? This is important, Alex. This is a lost art in our field.
Yes, 609-488-4646 is that number. We have one final question. So to recap, as we're going through the essential questions to ask when determining how much income you're going to need in retirement, we have 6 of them. The first one, how much are you spending right now? The second question is, how will your spending change in retirement? Third question, will family issues affect your spending? Then we asked, will your taxes be higher or lower in retirement? How could inflation impact your assets? And the final question today, and we all know the answer to this one, and I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek, how long will you live? But we do have to consider this, Scott. People are living longer.
You know, that's that's between you and the Lord. The Lord has we all have a clock. I don't know what my clock says, but if I look at my mom and dad, they died daddy died at 74. Mama died at 75. My clock, if I go by them, is longer. Then I look at grandma and grandpa's clock, and they lived to 84 and 86. I hope I have their clock. We don't know. But will your money outlive you, or will you outlive your money? And this determines on all those wonderful questions you asked, Alex, because it leads into, how do I plan for my retirement so I have a steady stream of income? Inflation, not inflation, a low rate of return, stock market collapse, we go to a war. There is lots of questions. And in your final questions, we talk about how much income you need in retirement and how long will you live. Well, how much need for income retirement, that goes to your budget, is the first phase. Then it goes to your dreams. How do you want to travel the next 10 years, or what do you want to do? What kind of fun do you want to do? Maybe you want to stay around the house, put a wedding on for your son or your daughter. Maybe you take care of your special needs child and have a wonderful life and spend time with them. Or maybe your husband or wife, lights are going dim. How do we enjoy this process the best way possible? But we think about all of these areas. How much income is needed? This is a great, great formula of the rule of 4. And then, of course, it goes on the rule of 4. If you don't know the rule of 4, give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Let me guide you the rule of 4 and how it fits into your portfolio. But then, how long do you plan on living? Well, I don't know that answer. I'm not the maker and the creator. I do believe in the maker and creator. The question is, I didn't make or create you, so I don't know. But what I do know is, do we have enough so we don't outlive our retirement? As that one woman I spoke to, she doesn't want to live on cat food, although it may be more nutritious. I don't know. But
well,
the question is going to be,
food they make nowadays. It's hard to distinguish anymore what's human and what's. Yeah.
I agree.
It's wild.
That's you out there. You know what? These questions we brought in today are real. I hear them often, and it's so normal to get these questions, but everybody isn't the same. This is not cookie cutter solutions for anybody I meet. Each person is so individual. Perhaps you're going through a divorce, game plan change. Perhaps your spouse or your partner died, game plan change. Maybe they chose the pension option. Option means if you die, the pension goes away. Game plan change. Wouldn't that be better to know that now than later? Wouldn't that be know that if you have a good long lifeline, like some of my friends, their parents died at 75 like me, or those of you who are really blessed, their parents died at 90 or 100. You know what? This is a good indicator how you should really plan. It's not the all set it and forget it, but this is what you discuss every year. And this is why we talk to people about their dreams, their dollars, and their dynasty, on how it fits within the taxes, the legacy, your will, power of attorney, living will. Should you hide your assets into a trust? Again, what is the impact on your retirement? What's the impact on the money that you leave behind and how they be taxed? This is important, Alex. That's why you talk about the 3D planning.
Yep. I love it. Yep. Again, that number, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And when we come back, the top 5 signs you need a new advisor. This is Financial Insanity, out of the box thinking for your financial sanity.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment, the egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
Well, if you've been with an advisor for a while and you're thinking about making a change, there are 5 signs it is finally time to fire your financial advisor. Or maybe you're just considering getting a second opinion. We're going to hear about that now. Scott McLean here on Financial Insanity. Thank you so much for joining us. And Scott.
Thanks, Alex.
Yes, this is one of those times where, maybe somebody's out there thinking, gosh, I don't know if this person is right for me, or maybe they're thinking, I've been hearing about the value of getting a second opinion, and maybe one of these notes here or one of these signs will resonate with you. So let's jump into it here, Scott. So the first sign that it could be time to fire your current advisor, they are not acting in your best interest. I know that is so important, Scott.
It's really important, Alex. When I hire a limousine driver to bring me to the airport or bring me somewhere, my best interest is to get there on time, safely, securely, with a nice, smooth, comfortable ride. The challenge is in this volatile market, are they paying attention to it? Or maybe they're acting on their benefit. Let's get the highest rate of return, but that's speeding up and slowing down and speeding up on that limousine. Well, if they're not acting in the best interest, they're not a fiduciary. They're selling products that may have their pocketbook. Are they ethically bound by, as we are, as a fiduciary? Are they obligated to really ask lots of deep, concerning questions? I think that's the number one. Are they acting in your best interest out there listening to me? Are they just, don't worry, hang in there, like they said when I was in the early 80s? Hang in there, don't worry, it'll come back. In the year 2000, hang in there, don't worry, it'll come back. That's what they told us to say. Those statements doesn't work when you're in retirement or nearing retirement. So number one is, Alex, are they really looking at your best interest? Are they asking about your spouse and their health? Asking lots of really come to Jesus, I call it, questions. Are they really getting down in the dirt? Maybe you have a child that's disabled. Are they thinking about that child? How are they going to protect it? Maybe their lights are twinkling. They're getting dementia. Are they listening to your best interest, not just growing the money? That's really important. They're looking maybe at commissions versus really advising. That's really important.
Well, like a driver that maybe's getting gas after picking you up as opposed to doing it before. They're not acting in your best interests. Like you want an advisor to be thinking about me instead of thinking about yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, number 2 here, as we're going through 5 signs that it could be time to fire your advisor, they dismiss your input. Scott, you wouldn't want that.
I don't know anybody, and it's time really to leave, dismissing the input. I think if I was at Christmas time, if I wanted a new tennis racket, I remember the famous Arthur Ashe tennis racket. I played tennis a lot when I was younger, and I really wanted a tennis racket. Well, if I got a ping pong racket, I wanted a tennis racket. Different game. You hit the ball across the little fence or the big fence. The question is, did mom and dad dismiss me? And that really makes challenge for how I feel about things. You didn't listen, Mom, Dad, or you didn't listen, Mr. and Mrs. Advisor. You see, with the expertise of asking about the taxes, ask about the legal questions, ask about the financial and investment questions. Maybe you were aggressive a few years ago when the market was taking off, but now it's going down and they don't listen to you because they say, well, it's going to come back. Hang in there. Don't worry. They absolutely didn't listen. And maybe they respond, but they didn't take action. And this is a real problem in the industry today because hopefully the market's come back. It's had a real challenge. I would like, if anybody's out there listening, you'd like a little discussion. Let's have a little talk. I'd love to talk to you off the air. And if you'd like to ask some questions to me, I'll be happy to get a hold of you. You can actually leave it with Bonnie, and Bonnie will set up a time to have you talk to us off the air at 609-488-4646. Because when you hire a financial advisor, not only, number one, they were saying not acting in your best interest, and number two, are they listening or are they dismissing your input? In other words, maybe you had a child that has to move back in with you because they made a series of bad decisions and they're going through a financial challenge. Okay, that needs to be in the plan. That's why I think these financial plans are good for a short period of time, maybe a month or two, not for a long period of time because life happens. So number one, not acting in best interest. Number two, they dismiss your input. Please, this is important to discuss this, if not on a yearly basis, at least once or twice, maybe 4 times a year if your life is really changing. Don't let your input get dismissed. Alex, now you had number 3, which is really challenging. Alex, what have you heard out? What was number 3, the biggest challenge you've heard?
Sure, and what I'll say too is, and this kind of goes 2 and 3 kind of go hand in hand. And to your point about a person like Bonnie, Bonnie's just such a great asset for you, a tremendous person to work with, to talk to, and just a great person to have in your office, and somebody who will never be number 3. Difficult to reach because sure, Scott, you might be in and out of meetings with other fine folks, and Bonnie is the person in your office to be there to help take those calls and guide clients to you and through the process. But number 3, as far as 5 signs it could be time to fire your advisor, they're difficult to reach.
You know, Alex, that's a wonderful choice. I was going to bring that up. I had different words, but your words are much better than mine. Difficult to reach. You know, we've actually just hired 2 more people because our practice is growing, which I'm so pleased it's growing. We get so many of our clients referring us, and not being able to. The number 1 goal is to take care of our clients. Number 2 goal is get new business, and of course we got to get new business to keep our business going. But luckily, we don't work out of the back of our car. We don't travel to someone's house. We don't. We have to have them come here. I used to do that in the early years of my practice from 1982, 83, 84, and actually stopped doing that in around 1995, 96, where people started coming in. I just could not make my time worthwhile. So if they're working on the back of the car, God bless them. But if they don't have a staff and someone to follow up with the questions, we're trying to train our new staff members to answer a lot of questions because we don't want people hanging out there. Just today, we had the beautiful husband pass away, and we're now discussing with them, with his wife, how do we plan your income? You've just lost your husband's Social Security since yours was higher. He had a pension. His pension dropped down from $1,000 a month to $450 a month. So we have to make that up. We're trying to figure that out. You know what? They need to reach somebody. And that's important. That's why we have to have a staff. So I think that's really important because, you know, again, being in that limousine, you want to be able to communicate with people which way to go, how to get there. They think they know where to go, but maybe you have a different area. So if you can't reach them, they dismiss your impact. They are not acting in your best interest. Well, are they difficult to reach? And this is really, really a challenge I hear. It's almost like you buy a product at the bank, thinking the bank's going to protect you. You set it and forget it. And that is not the area because life as a fiduciary, as an advisor, it has a lot of different segments, which is legal, tax, and finance.
Well, and if you want to reach Scott, you can at 609-488-4646. Again, the number 609-488-4646. Going through 5 signs it could be time to fire your advisor. Number 1, they're not acting in your best interest. Number 2, they dismiss your input. Number 3, they're difficult to reach. Number 4, Scott, they don't give you the details. Now, I don't want all the details, but heck, if I'm giving you some of my money or a lot of my money, I would like to kind of know what's going on and what you're doing with it and not have it be a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Whether they're investing $5,000 or $500,000, $1 million, each person is not, Alex, a cookie cutter. Now, when I say cookie cutter, Alex, what that means for those of you listening, let's say you have mutual funds and you bought what's called target date mutual funds. They call it the 2020, 2025, 2030. In other words, when are you going to retire? And say, well, I'm going to retire in 2035. Okay, you click it, set it, forget it. No. Not good. You need to really pay attention to those areas because they got to dig down for more details as to how much do you want to pull out. If it's for income, do we want money for our special needs child? What happens if you become disabled? These are in-depth questions that could lead down the estate planning role, which we do at our firm. I think you know that, Alex. We do that really. We got great people. Maybe they have other types of investment tools they didn't tell us about or didn't tell the advisor about. They need to pull that in, which we did just the other day, where they had an extra $30,000, which didn't change their life, but they said, oh, Scott, by the way, we have an extra $30,000. Great. Let's put that over here. You take care of it. Go put it in a 3% account at Ally Bank if you wish to use them. Great liquid. But again, people's details are so important. Most of the times what I find, Alex, is if I don't ask the questions, they may not even remember to ask. Or if I don't ask diving deep questions, by the way, who does your money go to? Oh, you want to make sure it's protected because your daughter has a spendthrift problem? Well, maybe we need a spendthrift trust because if she gets it all at once, she's going to blow it. Or maybe your son is married to a person, a woman, a man that they don't like, and you want to protect that money from that person. Maybe we need to have that discussion. Again, this is a time for the advisor that I hope before you advise them, are they asking you really deep down, I call it intimate questions, intimate meaning intimately about your finances, to make sure you preserve your money. The money goes to the right place. And today's could be different than 2 years from now. So again, a tight lip will sink a ship. Well, could it sink a ship if there's a hole in it? Well, let's go tell the captain we got a problem. So again, I'm not sure what you guys are doing out there listening. That's right. You right now that are listening to me, you got to give all the information out there. They're not asking. That's why when I wrote the book, The Three Blind Mice, how the financial planning process leads your money to a mousetrap. I bring up 11 different flags that pop up. And for those of you listening right now, if you'd like to get a copy of my book, I'd love to get it in your hands any way possible. Just give Bonnie a call because these are some questions that Alex brought up, the 5 different areas. Number 1, not acting in your best interest. Fire him. Or your advisor. Number 2, they dismiss your input. They're not listening, trying to have their own agenda, not your agenda. And by the way, your agenda may change as we just spoke. Number 3 was they're difficult to reach. And lastly, number 4 is they don't give you clear or all the details. But there's one more.
One more, Scott.
There's one more that's really, really, really important that ties it all together. Alex, what was that number 5? I think that you found when you speak to your mom and dad and other advisors, families.
Absolutely. We got just a couple minutes left. We want to go over the last one, and this one's important. And for you, it's something that's easy. You're a people person. You're a social guy. You're easy to get along with, and you want to get to know people. And this is the last one. So 5 signs it could be time to fire your advisor. The last one, they don't take the time to get to know you. Why is that important, Scott?
Guys, listen, if you're listening to me right now, if you invest any money with an advisor, the first time you meet them, you need to run. If they beg you for money, you need to run. You need to get to know them, know their personality, their role. It just may not be a good fit. And if you're married, have a special partner, you know what? You guys need to talk about it on your own. I would do no business with anybody. I tell it to clients when they come visit me, Alex. We will not do business today. I want to get to know you. I want to know if I can help you. I want to know if we're a good fit for our firm and a good fit for you. Because if something happens to you, I need to know how our firm can best serve you so they don't take time to get to know you. You need to get your questions written, not just are you a fiduciary? That's important. Please, 609-488-4646. This was, again, the top subjects, the top area that people want to make a shift in their advisors. It's time to look at them. Number one, they're not acting in your best interest. Number two, they dismiss your input. Number three, they're difficult to reach. Very important. Number four, they don't give you the details. They need to give you all the details. And lastly, really don't take time to get to know you. This could be a wonderful time to get another opinion.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.